Welcome to the Big Tech Gut Check here on Scrolling to Death. This is a weekly update for parents on all things social media and big tech. It has been a crazy week, lots going on, and maybe a little feisty this week. Let's start with Snapchat today, as they've rolled out some new ways to target our kids. The first is that Snapchat is now available on the Apple Watch. Their announcement says Snapchat everywhere. So basically, when you're on Snapchat, you won't ever get a break. No matter where you are, they will find you. So what's happening here is on the Apple Watch, you can now download the Snapchat app, preview messages, and reply or send emojis. You can also let your friends know where you are on their Snap Map. Just last year, Snapchat had released the full version of their app on iPads as well. Also this week, Snapchat announced that they are partnering with McDonald's. Customers of McDonald's can now use My McDonald's rewards and exchange them for a 1-month subscription to Snapchat Plus, which is the upgraded version and includes more dangerous features. I guess that McDonald's realized that Snapchat is like junk food for the brain, a perfect partnership. I'll just say a couple things here. When I interview anyone, parents, experts, doctors, I ask them, what is the worst app for kids? And they nearly always say Snapchat. When I interviewed an ex-Snapchat executive earlier this week, she said, quote, Snapchat is not safe for kids under 18. I have previously gone into all of the dangerous functionality in other episodes. Snapchat's geolocator, the My Eyes Only data vault, the Spotlight feed, which pushes strip club videos to children, the Snapchat My AI, which gives sexual advice to teens, and the entire company is under federal and state investigation for their role in facilitating the sale of fentanyl to minors. Snapchat wants our kids young because our kids are easily addictable, and they will continue to try to infiltrate any device our children use or any fast food chain that they like to eat at. So please draw a hard line between your children and Snapchat for their health and their safety. And if you want to get involved further, there is a petition put together by the National Crime Prevention Council to urge McDonald's to end their partnership with Snapchat. I will link to that petition in the episode notes. Now on to TikTok. A new study is warning parents that TikTok skincare regimes targeted towards young girls are causing serious skin irritations and lifelong allergies. So these researchers did something new. They analyzed the videos on TikTok and found that their routines are not only time-consuming, some girls are waking up at 4:30 a.m., but they are pricey and they are harmful. I hope that we can all recognize that TikTok is promoting these videos in order to help sell the products that the advertisers are pushing to our kids. This is a money grab. And these companies know how and when to best target our vulnerable children. Over on Instagram, for example, it was recently leaked that they were telling advertisers when a young girl would delete multiple selfies so that the advertiser could then push the beauty product on her when she was feeling bad about herself. So when it comes to these TikTok trends, I would advise parents to let your kids be kids, to discourage any of the obsessions with adult products that are being pushed by social media companies to make money. Because as this study is showing, there can be long-term effects. Let's touch on some more research. So a recent survey was done by AngelQ of over 2,000 parents with K-5 age children. They wanted to look at how the fight over technology between parents and kids is affecting us and our relationships. And it's costing us more than our time. Parents are overwhelmed and kids are smart. They're sneaking screens, hacking parental controls, creating new accounts, using voice commands to bypass restrictions. And what AngelQ realized through this survey is that the average parent faces nearly 500 screen time battles every year. That's almost 100 hours annually fighting with our kids over technology. So most of the time, parents end up giving in because it's hard not to, and then our kids are exposed. And this was actually the basis of AngelQ's new app, which is to allow our kids to have some tech time, but to stay safe. The AngelQ app is available now in the App Store, and it can let your child browse the internet in a kid-safe browser. And then also, if you allow streaming, they can watch Disney Plus, Netflix, or even YouTube, but it filters out all the bad stuff. And the best part is Angel-only mode, which means that all of the other things on the device get shut down. So just know that that app exists and you can go grab it if you need some help censoring the content your child is accessing. Or maybe you're just saying no to tech altogether, like me, besides some family TV watching. But what parents are saying no to most is social media access. And actually, I got a message from a mom just this week saying, quote, "I'm desperate to have the tools to explain to my 14-year-old the reasons she can't have Instagram or social media. Nothing I am saying is working. She says she doesn't know anyone who is harmed by social media. Her daughter says everyone has it, and she's the stupid girl that is treated like a baby and left out." This is such a common experience, and I feel for this mom and all the parents who are struggling with it. I will be there very soon. And I realized that on this podcast, there are over 260 something episodes. That is a lot to weed through. So what I did for this mom, and I made available via a public template now in my Instagram bio, is weed it down to 11 episodes that you and your teenager can watch together to help you make the case against social media access. Because I've found and I've been told that it's actually easier to have someone else make the case for you rather than having that struggle between parent and child. Obviously, you need to continue to have those conversations, but it can be helpful to expose the teen to the experts and the young people and the other parents who have shared through these podcast conversations. Lastly, I want to touch on Apple's iMessage. So the Wall Street Journal this week published an expose. The title is "Sextortion Scams Involving Apple Messages Ended in Tragedy for These Young Boys." We've talked a lot about sextortion, which is targeting primarily teenage boys in the US, the UK, Australia, and other places. Boys are getting contacted mainly on Instagram and Snapchat by someone that seems to be a teenage girl. They start flirting. The girl sends a nude image and then encourages the boy to send a nude image back. Once this happens, the scammer asks for hundreds or thousands of dollars from the young boy, or the image will be shared with his family and friends. Now, this has led to the suicide of 40 known young boys here in the US, but that number is much higher in reality. What came out this week is that it's not only the social media platforms that are failing to protect young boys from sextortion, it is Apple itself. In about 40% of the cases of sextortion that have been documented, the scammer takes the child from social media to iMessage because they can get away with more of that illegal behavior, sharing child sexual abuse material and making threats and demanding money in Apple's iMessage. So why hasn't Apple built better protections, and why are predators thriving within the Apple ecosystem? This is something that I brought in Sarah Gardner of Heat Initiative to talk about on a recent episode if you want to learn more about that topic. But I think a summary reminder here is that Apple iPhones are built for adults. They are not safe for children. Please choose any of the kids-safe products for your child as their safe on-ramp to technology. Okay, I was going to end it there, but I have one more thing that I want to make sure I mention. I was able to appear on Merritt Street news station by Dr. Phil yesterday to talk about a new research article that parents need to know about. It was a meta-analysis of over 300,000 kids 10 and a half and under, and these researchers set out to find causation. They answered two important questions. One, does screen use lead to socio-emotional problems for children? And two, do having these problems lead the kids to actually use the screens more? And the answers were yes to both of these questions. So time on screens for young children is connected to problems with anxiety, depression, hyperactivity, and aggression. And if the child struggles with these problems already, they will spend more time on screens. Last thing that we need to know about this is this study made it very clear that gaming is especially problematic, and they called it a high-risk behavior. I have lots of interviews about gaming, particularly the threats of online gaming or VR. So please look back to those if you are interested in learning more about that topic. Thank you so much for being invested in educating yourself on these topics so we can do our best to keep our kids safe in this online world we live in. Thank you. Talk soon.